Incoming transmission. Oh no.
Welcome to TennoTalk, episode 5. I'm your host, Rebecca, and joining me, as always, is my wonderful co-host, Jeremy.
5 episodes, that's crazy.
I know, right?
That
Already
is
to
crazy.
5. Well, this week we had DevStream 112, which was actually the last DevStream that we're going to get prior to TennoCon. Oh, I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it all that time without any more, hot exclusives.
Yeah, I'm not. This is gonna be hell.
This is really going to be really hard. There's so many more questions after that of what are we expecting? What are they going to say at the keynote for the devs, at TennoCon at the stream there? I just want to know what's going on so bad.
I'm gonna have to secretly be watching primetime on Thursdays during our stream just to get every ounce of information we can.
Yeah, I could definitely let you, we could pull it up on my iPad while we're streaming so that we can just sit right next to us. Because who knows? Well, it has been, not only do we have the DevStream 112 this week, it's been a busy week, and I think the biggest thing that I can say we actually did was we beat John Prodman.
We did it!
The Employee of the Month boss in the index. So if you didn't listen to the last couple weeks when we were talking about it, what you need to do is you need to go into the index on any difficulty, and you basically need to last for an hour. And once the hour is hit, John Prodman, the Employee of the Month, spawns, and you basically take him down, and then you can finish the mission, and when you extract, you will have a really cool signed autograph poster for a decor item that is of John Prodman, and it's really cool. We went in on Friday this past week.
Yep.
Yeah, it was Friday.
Friday night.
Yeah, Friday night, we took in a Mag, a Cora, a Nova, and a Rhino, and we're actually able to beat it, and whoa, it was hard.
And I have to say, I'm just going to throw this out there. Cora is pretty underrated, I think. I was so impressed by what Cora brought to that. I mean, everybody brought important parts. I'm not trying to say I was the MVP. But between her CC and Venari's just kind of stupid amount of damage, I really felt like Cora, I figured out where Cora fits. And I was really proud of myself for that.
Yeah, it took a couple attempts for us to get it. We went in and we kind of went in first with a Nidus instead of Cora. And we had a slow Nova. We had an Iron Skin Rhino. We had the Cora that was max range and maxed duration for Strangledome in the CC.
Not the first run.
Oh, no, I meant afterwards, the one that actually beat it.
Yeah.
Yeah, the one that actually beat it was a slow Nova, an Iron Skin Rhino, a max range, max duration Cora, and a pulverize and max range bubble Mag. Well, not max range, but I don't think I was max range, but I was close. So that's what ended up beating it, and it took a lot of it. Shockingly, when John Prodman spawned, he was super easy because we literally all laser focused him really fast. The hardest part was just surviving up until then.
Getting to a whole hour was the scary part about him showing up, though, was I actually expected kind of almost a Borderlands-esque
some
short
fanfare.
Cutscene, some fanfare, John Prodman's here to bust some skulls or something like I'm cashing checks and smashing faces. It was something like that, And he appeared in that hallway, and I tethered him, and then we all focus fired him, and he was gone as fast as he arrived.
Yeah, and I kind of, about 15 minutes into it, I kind of slipped into my old style, which was a shot caller. So I shot called when I played Overwatch a little bit, and I shot called and led, raids and, hard dungeons and stuff. And I was, a main strat caller and, a main, person calling all of those stuffs and calling, procs and stuff like that. So I kind of slipped back into that mode. And it was really funny because, while I was doing it, I was playing Mag, so I literally just was calling out who had the bubble on them so that everybody would focus them, because I had such big bubbles. If you were trying to kill someone else, you weren't doing any damage because your bullets were getting sucked the other way. And to conserve on ammo and stuff, and, I think one of the people that was with us said that by the time John Prodman came, we were well over scaled 200 enemies.
We were. It was well over.
I'm pretty sure it was well over. And those things hit so hard, but we did it. It took 3 attempts.
Yep.
And the only other reason we got screwed is because we weren't watching the time on the other 2. We ran out of time.
Yeah, that first one, I think we only finished 1 round because we got so excited.
Yeah.
We were focused on other things. So the best part about Mag's bubble, like your shot calling, I do believe is why we lasted so long after only the 3rd attempt.
Yeah.
I definitely chalk that up to you. But also the bubble, because the Tigris Prime is what I took. It is a solid weapon. I don't think anyone will disagree with that. But with Mag's bubble, so you can guarantee that every single pellet from the Tigris hits home. Oh man, I was watching enemies melt.
Yeah.
So great. It was great. Like level 200 enemies, and I just both barrels, and they would die. I mean, I know there were other people shooting too, but it felt. I don't know. That is why people take the Tigris. I would use the Tigris or the Boar, I believe is what you took.
Yeah, I had Boar Prime on.
I would use those with Mag exclusively.
Yeah.
Like as far as I'm concerned, she needs a shotgun.
Yes, like the Boar Prime. Now I did run out of ammo a lot, so I had to like run away a couple times and like run the quick little map because we were on the big open map versus the small little corridor hallway when we finally beat it. And we basically camped up on their side where they turn in. So because we were all there, the enemies were coming to us, which was a lot easier. We kind of just bubbled up there. And didn't really have that many issues because they were coming towards us to try to get our points. But yeah, like I think all of us had shotguns too.
Yeah, the other 2 had the Opticore.
Yeah, the Opticore. So thank you so much to BBQ Tac and Forever Viper for coming with us with that, especially on stream. It was so much fun. We had people in that were cheering us on, and just a major shout out to all you guys that were there to kind of support us through that. I have a new goal now that I want to beat that as many times, and I'm going to cover every single inch of my orbiter in John Prodman fan mail and autographed signs so that I can be the ultimate John Prodman fan. So yeah, that's my goal now.
That's the new scale. Like if you're a fan, then you like something and you want a poster for it. If you're a true fan, you'll kill them and take their posters.
As many times as possible. Exactly. So yeah, but leading up to that, we had we were doing a lot of formaing this week to kind of get prepared. Like I had to forma Mag. Jeremy was forming Cora, and I know a couple of the other ones were working on builds, because basically what we did is we came up with plans of a couple different strategies of like different frames we could take, and we basically kind of just formed those to kind of help out so we could switch in and out as need be. So like I said, I went into Mag a lot, and hers took a little bit of finding my right plan of what I wanted to do, and then I ended up getting the Boar Prime and formatting that. So she's probably one of my favorite frames of all time right now. I play her a lot, and especially with the Boar Prime, like, I want to play that weapon on everything. Even if I run out of ammo a lot, like, I constantly want to use that weapon.
Well, in a normal mission, you won't run out of ammo
That's
nearly
fair.
as quickly because, enemies drop it. I don't think they were dropping any kind of ammo.
No, you had to. They were, but you had to run around, and it basically gave you 20 of the ammo that you were using.
I got 10 with the Tigris.
Oh, I got 20 with Boar Prime, so that was really nice.
I think it's scaled based on like your max or your magazine size or something.
Yeah, so I think my magazine size was set at 140. So I was getting 20 per ammo pickup, and they drop and respawn constantly, so I was able to keep up with it. Now, if we could have used our gear, I know a couple of us had like energy pizzas and health pizzas and ammo pizzas, but sadly you can't use your gear in the index. But it's another one of those things, like, as I was formatting, I found out those pizzas are invaluable. Like, I've been constantly crafting those, and I'm pretty sure I have 100 of the energy and the health regen ones now that I literally just pop on the ground when I'm, like, formatting stuff so I don't die, so I don't take that affinity hit.
Right.
It's so nice. So, going back a little bit back to the formatting, I know, Jeremy, you worked on Cora a lot, and I have to say, like, especially in the index is where I really noticed it because we were focus firing so hard, but the format work that you've done on Cora has completely changed my opinion of her.
Yeah.
Like, I actually finished getting her to 30, and I'm gonna start looking at some builds for her because holy crap.
Yeah, I have to give credit where it's due. MC Gamer's Korra build is what it's what I'm emulating. I've changed a mod here and there, but for the most part, I'm going on his. His was, I believe it's three or four on Korra, and then it's 4 on Venari.
Yeah.
And then I have 2 on the Tigris Prime, and I think it's going to need a third now because I have all 4 of the 60/60 mods. So it can get up to 100% condition damage or condition chance. And then let's see what else. My melee weapons have a couple, but I'm actually switching melee weapons to the Venka Prime because of the combo multiplier that the claws give you.
That's fair.
They charge it a little faster, and the whip, when you use Korra's one skill, gives you combo counter. So you can get a pretty devastating combo build going with Korra between the claws and the whip. And let's see, the Sikaris Prime has 3, so I think altogether by the time I'm done I'll have 16 for over the course of the whole build. That's all 3 weapons, Venari and Korra. And my Nidus, I worked on Nidus's stuff as well, and he has almost the same, because I was hoping, and it worked the first time, but I'm glad I switched to Korra. Nidus has the Hema, so I didn't need to worry about ammo the whole time we were in there, because Nidus regens health and the Hema takes your health for ammo. So I was hoping to go that route, and I guess I could have still used the Hema with Korra, but Fashion Frame is endgame to me, so the Hema is just for Nidus.
I mean, why else would I have wasted and tried and brokered, and luckily I found somebody that would traded me the Gamma Core, because the Gamma Core Fashion Frame is amazing. It looks so good on. So now even if it's not good, I'm resolute to use the Syndicate Gamma Core.
You have the Cyanoid Gamma Core,
yes.
and that is supposed to be pretty good.
Yeah, I have that on my Nova now, and she looks so fabulous.
Your Nova looks great.
I know. I'm getting better at Fashion Frame and Captura slowly, which is really awesome. So another thing that we did this week, and we've been harping on it that we're trying to do it. So TennoCon's coming up, and during TennoCon, Baro Katir is going to be here with his entire library of stuff, every single thing he's ever sold. So we've been really working on relic farming and trying to get those ducats so we could get the ducats cashed in, and making sure we have enough cred to cover everything so we could get everything that we wanted. Because like I mentioned last week, I didn't know he had like Prisma cosmetics and Prisma weapons and stuff. And the weapons are good for MR. The cosmetics is because Fashion Frame is endgame to me. So I want all the really cool Fashion Frame stuff. And he's got really nice 60/60 mods and the primed mods. And
then he had to go and show up this week, bringing stuff that I actually want. I had no intentions of buying anything this week, and he had these cool glowing shoulder pads.
Oh,
I love them, right?
I literally have them on 3 of my frames right now.
So do I.
I bought those immediately.
And then on top of that, he also brings the 60/60 split for the electric for all 4 types of weapons: the shotguns, the rifles, the sidearms, and the melee. And I bought all 4 of them. So
I did too.
I spent I'd saved up almost 4,000 ducats, and I spent about two of those 2,000.
You know what's really funny is I had 2,900, and I'm down to exactly 400 ducats now.
Because you bought the sexy arrows too,
yes,
right?
So I ended up, he had arrow skins, and Dread is seriously my favorite weapon, and it's the weapon that I use the most. On more times than not, it's either that or the Boar Prime now. So I bought the arrows because I already had all the other arrow packs. So I bought the Prisma arrows because they were really sexy, and like I said, Fashion Frame is endgame. And then I ended up turning around and I bought both of the shoulder pads, and I bought the chest piece, and then I bought all 4 of the mods, and I think I bought one more thing, possibly. But yeah, I literally, and I was talking about it like to people on the stream, and I was talking to some of our friends, and I'm like, yeah, he's gonna be here this weekend. I'm just gonna look and see what he has, but I'm not gonna buy anything. And then I get home from work, And I'm sitting down on my computer and we're getting ready to go get the stream live and stuff. And Jeremy tells me that he has the electricity mods. And I literally needed that for one of my builds.
Yep.
So I went and bought it. And then I turned around and I was like, well, I really need the melee one too. So I went and bought that one. And then like an hour later, I went back and bought the other two.
I can't believe you forgot this, but didn't you buy the gun? The explosive pistol?
Yes, I did buy that explosive pistol. And that pistol's fun. Like, one, it's sexy, and it's another one of those sidearms that I'm like, I kind of want to use it just because it looks good, especially when it's all black with, like, the purple Prisma effect. Oh,
It looked great on your mag.
it's so pretty. But that weapon, once you get used to the idea of the projectile and stuff, it automatically does base blast damage. So, modded, I think that thing could be really cool. And I think it would just be, I mean, obviously it might not be meta or anything like that, but I really do think that I could have some fun with it. So I'm going to keep it, and I've ranked it all the way up to 30 for MR, and I'm going to probably turn around and mess with it some more and maybe see if I can get a good build on it. But yeah, I did buy the weapon too.
Yeah, I have to say, like, I hate to borrow what I think are Overwatch terms, but I'm definitely a hit scan player, with the exception of the bows. I love the Cernos Prime has become one of my most used weapons, but other than that, like the grenade launcher and this pistol, like watching you use it, I don't think I could get into it.
Yeah, but that's not really an Overwatch thing. That is like a legitimate, just different type of playstyle. It's just that's where you hear it the most because people focus on projectile versus hit scan.
Yeah.
But other than that, yeah, I had the Penta that I was MR leveling because I did a lot of MR grinding, which I just hit MR 12, so woo,
yeah,
getting closer to being able to get the Galatine Prime.
Actually, yeah, you got a bunch of good stuff at 12. You need to look that up.
I got the Sybaris Prime. I'm probably going to look at getting that. I have the regular Sybaris building right now, so I'm going to try it out today and see if I like it, and then look around for farming the Prime, because you can still get the parts for it.
Right.
And I'm probably going to farm the Tigris Prime, because I don't know if I want it after I've got the regular Tigris, so we'll see. Who knows? But yeah. So I had the Penta, and that's like one where you like shoot like 5 of these things and then you can explode them with the alt fire, and I actually really started liking that one too. So maybe I really do kind of like the projectile style in this. Maybe it's just I like things where you can detonate them on your own, but I still suck with Nova's 2 skill, and that's kind of like a projectile that you aim and you shoot it and then you like aim it to the ground and it explodes.
Just a tip for that, I have been told that sniper rifles are the way to go.
Really?
For shooting that ball, because you get a nice zoom and a crosshair, and it's super high damage with low shots. You only have to shoot it a couple times.
Yeah, I was using it with Boar, and Boar did pretty well with it. I just had trouble aiming it to like get it to explode in the right spot. So this is something I'll work on this week, I think.
Yeah, it's just practice.
Yeah, so kind of going back. Well, not really going back, but we should just talk about the biggest thing this week was the dev stream. Dev stream 112.
So were you happy or were you disappointed?
I was disappointed. And I feel really bad saying that because I feel like we did get some really cool information. I mean, they showed us a frame, the new frame. They showed us some stuff about, like, they told us stuff about Sacrifice. They showed us some cool dojo stuff. They talked about Exalted mods, which is something they've been talking about. But I don't know. I guess I just wanted more.
Yeah, my initial, like, as they were signing off and doing their whole goodbye, we're going to miss you till TennoCon stuff, my initial gut reaction was like, is that it?
Yeah.
But I think I kind of have to give them a bit of a pass, at least for myself, because I overhyped myself. I was reading the Reddit and I was buying into all these tinfoil hats, like all this crazy stuff that, you know, I mean, it does still sound like Sacrifice is coming in the next few weeks. You know, it definitely sounds like it's coming before TennoCon, but with all this stuff, like I went in with expectations.
Yeah.
And those expectations were not met, but at the same time, those expectations were not given to me by DE. They were given to me by Reddit and by talking to you last week for the podcast. So
yeah, I will say there was one little expectation that kind of was given by DE, and that was we touched on it too, when they updated their Twitter photos and their Facebook photos. You know, they'd said before that they aren't going to tease that until it's 100% ready. And then literally right out of the gate, we saw the poster, which is really cool. It's cool to see Mr. Long-Armed Man, Barros. And props, I didn't look to see who it was. I saw it once and I laughed really hard. But whoever edited that photo and put at the very bottom where it says Warframe and it says Mr. Steal Your Space Mama was like the best thing ever. And I'm probably gonna go find it and make it my wallpaper on my phone because it was so great. But like they showed us this poster, and then the only other thing they said was soon TM. They're still working on it. Like they teased it, and they said they weren't going to tease it until it was 100% ready. And they said they're still wrapping stuff up with it and still getting it ready. But I guess I can appreciate the fact that they did drop some pretty subtle hints. Not even subtle. It was just some low key that it is going to be coming out prior to TennoCon. I know they said. At the very end, they talked about no more hot fixes until TennoCon is what Rebecca said, and then it turned around and a couple of the other ones said, actually, no more patches until Sacrifice. So it's looking like we are going to be getting that before, and I know Steven even mentioned when they see them again on TennoCon, he wants to hear our reactions to Sacrifice. So it looks like it is coming out soon. We've got at least, a month? Month and 4 days.
Yeah, just a little bit more than a month.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's I think my prediction from last week I think is still gonna be accurate. My guess was either this coming week right after the dev stream or the week after. I think the week after that is starting to look more and more like that could be when it comes out, because that would give players about 2 weeks before TennoCon. Well, a little closer to 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So time to get there and get it, because they also said to make sure that you're getting through those prerequisites and everything. So I mean, they were doing everything short of saying like what day it's coming out, because obviously they don't know, because I think if they did know they'd tell us. But
yeah, I really hope, because I guess that's what I wanted out of it, is I really wanted to know when that's coming out. Like I wanted a concrete answer, and the fact that we didn't get it, okay, that's fine. I guess I'm happy to know that it is coming out prior to TennoCon, which means that I will have time to, go through that and digest it and really kind of get into it.
Yep.
Which, if you haven't checked the Reddit, is amidst and filled with theories about Sacrifice still. So
my favorite one, and I just saw this right before we started recording, is I don't know if anybody's noticed, they had a couple screenshots for reference, that Warframe's login screen, the logo, the every other letter of the word Warframe is starting to fade away. There's 4 of them that are fading away, and it's the 2nd, the 4th, the 6th, and the 8th letter. So they divided it up into the date of 24/6/18. June 24th, 18 is the day that Sacrifice is going to come out, and I not that I'm putting any actual stock into that. I'm sure it was a trolly Reddit comment, but yeah. I love when people do this, when they read like so much into it, whether they're just trolling or not. When they read so much into it, like Half-Life 3 jokes still kill me, because they find ways to, like, if you've ever seen the movie The Number 23 with Jim Carrey, it's kind of a terrible movie, but I do that all the time. I add up, like, I figure out the numbers associated with letters, and I add those numbers up in weird ways to try to get to, like, 666 or something.
Mm-hmm. He does do that.
I do that all the time in my head, like, for all these things. So when I see stuff like, he said this at exactly this timestamp, this at exactly this timestamp, and if you add the 2 timestamps together, it cuts to where he says a syllable that sounds like Half-Life 3 confirmed. I love random crap like that. And so this little math problem on why these 4 letters are fading was pretty spectacular. I got a good laugh out of it.
Yeah, that's a Sunday, so who knows, they might patch on a Sunday.
I didn't even look at the calendar.
Yeah, I just pulled it up. I was curious what day the 24th
That's
was.
funny.
It's on a Sunday. So yeah, that would be really absolutely hilarious. They did say something that I know they've been talking about for a while. It's the fighting game is going to be playable at TennoCon. They're going to have arcade machines with it, and I think that is so funny. I know... Sorry, you go ahead.
No, it's fine. It looked like, I think it was Space Mob versus, I want to say, Nova in the screenshot they showed. It's so funny. I would love to play a Street Fighter-esque Warframe game.
Oh yeah.
I would love for this to be one of those hidden games, like in the login screen. I guess there's you can type in like worm something as the username with no password, and it'll launch a little worm mini game.
Oh, you get that from actually going to Worm Prime. He's got that if you open up Worm Prime, if you didn't know this, totally check it out, because there's another one for Zephyr too,
Yep.
and it's really fun. When you go to Worm Prime and you go to its appearance, I think it'll have A, B, C, and D. If you click the D one, that will actually launch a mini game, and it's a side scroller with Worm where you shoot stuff, and it's really funny.
Yeah, Zephyrs, you get to play Flappy Bird.
Yeah.
So,
So
it's
those are
really
cool.
it's really hard too.
Yes, they are hard.
Really hard.
Because there's achievements and stuff you can get for doing it. But yeah, those are really cool. I don't know. I just think it's really fun to think of the Lotus punching me in the face.
Why'd you have to say achievements? Now I'm actually going to try.
Oh, we'll do it.
Well, good luck. I'm not helping you on the stream this week.
Oh, that's fine. We'll stream the mini games. Yeah.
The Flappy Bird competition.
Oh, heck yeah. Let's do it. So
I should get Worm. I don't have Worm or Worm Prime.
get Worm Prime. Worm Prime is amazing, and he looks really freaking cool.
He does look cool.
He looks really cool, because I actually am looking, because I have Worm Prime and Carrier Prime now, and I have Worm Prime and Helios Prime, and I almost bought a Carrier Prime this weekend.
Yeah, I hear Carrier is so good.
Yeah, I want him. I still might pick him up. It depends on if I get some Rivens or not.
Yeah.
So keeping with what they've been doing before, when they've been showing off like the big dragon in the dojo, they did show another dojo that they were going to show on primetime, but Rebecca got the whisper right at the end of it. So she went to it once they were off screen and then tweeted out like links to it so you could see it, like the video and stuff like that. And she copied it to the dev servers. And wow, holy crap,
Yup.
those figures were amazing.
And we'll touch on this again after the break, but two of my favorite games of all time that are not Warframe related are Legacy of Kain, the whole series, and Nier Automata. And they had a gigantic 2B outside the ship.
Like holding it up.
And I saw it first on Rebecca's Twitter, and I thought it was a picture of 2B that they had somehow superimposed. I did not realize at the time that they actually built her.
Yeah.
So when they were actually floating, they had that disembodied camera floating around. Oh man, I could not believe it.
Yeah, it was really cool, and cool on them that they recognized the fact that you did that, like that they were quote unquote allowing their players to break the map a little bit, and then they turned around and said that they're gonna fix the lighting to kind of help with that, so that you can actually illuminate the stuff outside
So
the
it
ship.
extends that far. That was so cool.
Yeah,
Like
I
just
thought that
this
was really neat.
this little thing that he, I don't know if they'll actually do it, but just the fact that he said, like, he wasn't like, herp, derp, they're breaking my game. Like, instead, his first reaction was, I wonder if we could fix this so that they can have the lighting out that far. Like,
Yeah.
it's just really cool. It's a nice little thing to see. Like, I think sometimes people, including myself, can get so wrapped up in pushed release dates and nerfs on your favorite frames that sometimes the devs can look like
The bad
the
guy.
Grinch. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's
Bad
just
guy.
really cool to see, like, and you see it all the time especially with Rebecca and Megan on their primetime, because they just seem so they seem to like the game. But to see, like, Steven, who's, the big dog, to see him, like, get excited about something, to say, I wonder if we could break the game further and make this work for these people. Like, it was really class act.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Yeah, and I think the most exciting thing that I heard this whole dev stream for me is that they were going to they're working on something to where you can visit other people's dojos.
Yes.
And that made me so excited, because I come from an MMO background, and one of my favorite MMOs that I'd played because of its housing system was WildStar. And like, we're talking, people would pay me in-game currency and cash currency to build them dojos, or not like their houses, which would be like their dojos, and I would build them custom houses and everything like that, and like build kitchens and all of this stuff, and it was so amazing. And there was an add-on you could get for it called like the neighbor or something, and it let you like randomize people's houses to visit of anybody that had their house set to public, so they didn't have to be on your friends list. So you could just go and visit people and their houses, and there were housing competitions that were put on by like the team and by communities and stuff. And the fact that they're going to be doing that and then doing possible decorating dojo competitions is amazing.
Yeah,
that has me excited.
One of the coolest things about player housing across any game that has it that I've seen is there's people like me who, decorate it and it looks fine. they put a little bit of work in it. And then you get people like you who go above and beyond and make these really like wholly unique structures, like, you know, using the WildStar reference, you know, blowing up tables to the size of houses so that you could get a tree house, and then you blow up the tree underneath the table so that you hide the table, but you've got this nice flat platform in the branches. Like, going like above and beyond and breaking the stuff. And it's the same with these people building robots and, you know, the giant koi fish from the last dev stream.
They're so cool.
It's so cool to see that. So why not like have, you know, put a spotlight on this and let us visit the other houses? Because I noticed, like, when I've been doing a lot of trades and stuff, if you're the last person in another team's dojo or another clan's dojo, you get kicked. So
yeah, I didn't know that until you told
it gives
me.
you this funny little message like, you know, nobody else from X clan is available. It's time for you to go, and it boots you. And, you know, it's fine, you know, because you don't want people in there. Like, I don't know if you could mess up, like, anything since you wouldn't have clan permissions.
Yeah,
but
I don't think you could
still,
interact
you
with
probably
anything.
shouldn't be in there. So I get it. But to be able to do this and to make it so that players can visit it, or maybe, like, I don't know if this was something they were talking about doing on their end for themselves, but being able to load, like, a copy of it up to, like, you know, the frame of, or the hall of the month club, or, you know, whatever you want to call it, to put it on display so players can visit it. Like, it's just, I don't know, I'm really excited. I think it's really cool. It's not as cool as the build your own obstacle course. I actually think that's a little cooler, and I really want to get into that.
Yeah.
Which I think our clan finally has that, right? You built that
Yes,
course. We just need to actually do something with it.
Yeah, I smashed our actual regular obstacle course, and I relocated it and put up the build your own obstacle course, and I've kind of looked at what you could do, but I actually haven't messed around with it yet, because we've been so busy. But that's something that I really want to look into and get. So
I did see a funny thing about that is if you've got those laser tripwires hitting a floor that will disappear after it's touched for so long, then the tripwire will extend through that floor once it's gone. So people are making really cool traps with that.
Oh, that's
where, like,
really neat.
You've got to jump up these steps because there's lasers pointing straight up. So it's like an artificial timer, because if you stay too long, then you'll get hit by the laser when the floor disappears.
Oh,
so you
that's
have
cool.
to keep going up like in a frantic pattern. It's really neat.
Yeah, dude, this community is so creative with what they're doing.
Yeah,
like,
you're all crazy. I love it.
I didn't know you could, like, freeform build like that until I saw the koi fish and stuff, and now I'm just like, oh snap, okay, this just stepped it up a tier. I wish I had all the mats and forma and everything in the world to build everything, but it's slow going. But we'll get there. We'll get some really cool rooms, hopefully. But yeah, and then one of the other things they talked about, and I know that this has been brought up several times from the community, is the exalted mods. The information they gave us were like 3 or 4 polarities to start out with. There's going to be no potato in it because they've already going to have that included. The mods are going to be shared. So yeah, we had like a mini discussion about this, but I still am on the fence on what I think about it at this point, like as far as power curve and stuff like that. I don't know. What about you?
So I won't speak much to the power curve because I don't know how this is going to play out as far as, like, you know, comparing Excalibur or Mesa to I almost said Ivara, who is obviously another one of the people I'm talking about, but
like Atlas or
Atlas,
Hydroid.
Yeah, or Hydroid. Yeah, we'll pick Hydroid because he's not in a great spot anyway. So comparing comparing Mesa to Hydroid now is already sort of a one-sided conversation, and then giving Mesa even more tools. I won't speak much to balance because I don't know where this is going to go, and I do have to assume that they'll consider things like balance here. But
yeah,
what I really like this change because playing Mesa, who I think is, of all the frames, probably the most applicable to this. Well, actually Korra too, but playing Mesa, the Sikaris Prime that I have is modded simply as a stat stick. I never actually take it out and use it, ever, on Mesa. I'm using my primary, or I'm using her Exalted Peacekeepers. End of discussion. I don't... Well, actually, I take that back. I use her sidearm if I'm down.
Yeah, of course.
But other than that, so it would be really cool to be able to mod her pistols separately from the sidearm, because then that gives me a chance to, like, I can use other sidearms. And I think the other thing that you and I sort of talked about is looking at, I think the example was Ivara, but you'd never want to, like, leveling a new primary weapon, if you mainly played Ivara, would feel terrible, because suddenly Ivara's bow sucks out of nowhere. Like, you got this brand new Soma, and you're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go use the Soma, and I'll just camp Artemis bow so I don't have to worry about using a weak weapon. Well, now Artemis bow sucks too.
Yeah, and I could see the problem with that, because I mean, I do that with Ivara, because Ivara is one of my most played frames.
Right.
That I put a lot of time, and it does kind of suck, like, leveling those extra weapons. Another example that got brought up, because they said they wanted to be more flexible with mods, so you don't feel like you have to mod that specific weapon that it's getting its stats from, or the mods from that, so you kind of have a little bit more choice, was with the blank sorties, so like sniper only sorties, melee only sorties, sidearm only sorties, stuff like that, shotgun only sorties, anything that takes it out of that slot. So for Ivara, if I'm running a melee only, then I have to rely heavily on my melee weapon, because my bow, like if I'm in my Artemis bow build is going to be worthless because I don't have any mods equipped, because you have to completely unequip the weapon. So it's literally just the base damage of the Artemis bow, of whatever that is set to at rank 30. So I can see that being a huge issue, and obviously I could pick a better frame that doesn't have an exalted weapon, but say I didn't have that option, or I just really wanted to play Amara because it's a melee-only spy mission. Like, you're losing a lot of that, and I can see the issue there. But sorties is just one small part of the game, and it's one small part of, what people do in the game. So that's what just has me worried. But I can see the merit of doing it, most definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just one of those things. I guess, I have faith in them that it's going to work out. It's just how it's going to work out, especially with the idea of the shared mods and having polarities in there.
So I guess the reason that I'm a little less concerned about this is Venari on Korra is he's essentially the beta test for this whole idea, because you mod him separately from your pet, whatever companion you're bringing along, and he uses that pool of mods, but you're allowed to double up, so you can give him mods without worrying about your Hymuth Charger suddenly being terrible because you put all your good mods on Venari. So in that situation with Korra, a lot of people, it's not like they just unequip whatever their companion was because they're taking Venari. They're actually using both, and whether that's like Carrier or Helios, because Venari is already filling the slot, or maybe you want two pets, and like I take my Kavat, or now I take my Hamlet Charger because I got him out because I've been playing Nidus lately, and Fashion Frame, of course, is endgame. As always, yeah. So I think, like, Venari didn't really tilt the scales too far, and I realize that talking about a companion is different than a weapon.
Yeah.
But I think baseline, it's still worth mentioning, like, Venari didn't. I mean, you just read like any post about Korra. Venari being moddable separately does not make Korra overpowered. So I think it will shift the balance in favor of some of these frames, but the balance is already kind of in favor of those frames. Ivara is a very popular and very powerful. Mesa is very popular and very powerful. Excalibur is like, everybody plays Excalibur except maybe you.
Yep.
I don't play him because I don't want to say he's boring and have a bunch of people like with pitchforks outside my door, but at the same time, like, I feel like I got him so late. Like, I picked him up after I'd leveled like half the primes in the game, so I already had, like, I was like, if I'm feeling like doing melee, I've got Valkyr, I've got Atlas. If I feel like doing this, like CC, like his blind and stuff, I've got Equinox and Inaros, and so he just really didn't. There's no reason to have him other than MR, which kind of sucks because he's so good, but still, he's popular. And I'm not saying he's bad, but I don't know. I feel like the scales are already tilted towards them, so I don't actually think this is going to shift the balance too much.
Yeah, I'm just worried that it might shift it too far, actually, for me, I guess.
It might bring Titania up.
That would be
I know
cool.
she has other problems. I'm not saying
Yeah.
that her melee when she's in fairy form or razor wing form, like her melee is not her only issue there, but I do think this might be like the first step in the right direction for her.
Yeah, it would be nice. Like I said, I'm just worried with the shared mods because, like, how many, if you've got your Hornet Strike, for example, on your pistol, and then you put it again on Mesa's pistols on our Peacebringers, like, that's going to be intense. If you've got 2 fully leveled Hornet Strikes, like, dang the damage.
I disagree, though, because I already have that. Because I have my maxed out Hornet Strike on my pistol.
Well, I guess that's fair, because
it's benefiting from it when I use the Peacebringer.
Yeah, so I guess I wasn't thinking about it that way, because just because it's shared doesn't mean that it's using both. So
Right.
it will only be affected by the mods that you put on it.
So really,
Yeah, that's fair.
really what's going to change here is not the Exalted Weapon. The Exalted Weapon is going to stay exactly like it was. What's changing is the weapon that the Exalted Weapon gets its stats from. You now have more flexibility in that slot.
That's fair. So, if, like, for example, with Avara, if I wanted Avara's Dread Bow to do radiation, but I wanted the Artemis Bow to do viral,
Yeah,
I could do that.
Yeah, that's a good example. Dread is a nice, condition. Everybody knows it's got that. But maybe for, her Exalted Bow, you want to go just pure crit damage and just through the roof, all the crit you could ever want.
Yeah.
So you load up Dread for conditions and you load up Artemis Bow for crit. Whereas before, you would have just loaded Dread for crit because that's what you wanted Artemis Bow to do. So it's just giving more flexibility to the actual weapon slots.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm not saying it's not going to shift it at all, but I don't think it's going to shift it as much as we might think initially, because they're going to pay attention because they know these frames are the more popular, and they're not going to want to make it so that, they don't want the sorties to be only exalted frames.
Yeah. Plus, I didn't think about this, too, is it's almost a slight nerf, too, because if you've got a Riven in there, if you have a Riven in your sidearm or your bow or something, using, like, if I had a Riven in Dread, my Artemis Bow is benefiting from those stats. So now it also opens up a whole new thing where they could do Rivens where you create all new challenges that are just that you have to do with your, like, drop a veiled Riven for, like, Avara's Artemis Bow and just call it a veiled Artemis Bow, and you have to do so much challenge with the bow to unlock the Riven. That'd be kind of cool.
A bunch of them don't accept Rivens.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah. Some do. I think it might be Korra's Whip. I know it's not an exalted weapon, but I think Korra's Whip will take it will take Rivens, but there are some that don't. So it would be kind of cool, although that would be a creep towards these being more powerful to have, like, an exalted, Artemis Bow Riven mod.
That's fair.
That'd be cool, though. I definitely would love
cool.
to see that.
I'm just thinking of Rivens a lot lately because I ran that alert to get that rifle Riven mod, and I still have a pistol veiled one that I haven't been able to complete. And I have the rifle one, which I'm pretty sure I won't be able to complete. So I'm sitting on 2 veiled Rivens, and I'm just really frustrated with them. So something that I can actually do would be great.
Okay, so I wasn't going to get out my soapbox, but now that you brought up the Rivens, I'm getting out my soapbox. I had to get 12 kills while clinging to a wall
or
without
while running,
taking any damage.
Or touching the ground.
That was frustrating.
Yeah.
Because, like, I wall run and I wall cling all the time. I'm no stranger to the extended group of parkour moves and stuff. I don't just bullet jump everywhere. But wow, I didn't realize, like, how few places you can wall run uninterrupted. Because if you touch even the slightest flat surface under your feet, it changes back to saying, "Oh, you touched the ground." It was so frustrating. So I finally cheesed it. I tried to cheese it with Saren, putting spores on everything and just wall clinging till everything died. But I couldn't get that many the maps I was doing it on. I couldn't get that many things. I should have tried Sanctuary Onslaught. I didn't think about that.
Oh, I didn't think about that one.
So in the end, I got it with a day form Equinox. We were on Helene, so it was relatively low. It was like medium, like 30s, I think.
Yeah, like 20 to 30.
And we went 10 waves, and all the way up to wave 9, I had MAME charging. So by the beginning of wave 9, I had like something like 240k damage stored up or something. So I clung to a wall and popped it, wiped the map, and got it instantly. Right after complaining, the exact words were, "I am never gonna get this."
And then he got it.
I just got it.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, I don't know, like, I felt a little dirty because obviously you're not supposed to cheese these things. But,
no, you're supposed to.
But that one, like, wow.
Yeah. Oh, I'm still trying to freaking kill 3 Kondroks.
Yeah,
flying
Kondroks.
3 times in a row. In 5 seconds. Oh, don't get me started on that one. There are not enough birds that spawn on the plains of Eidolon for me to scare them off the ground and kill 3 of them in the air.
Yep.
Which that is worded so badly. Please, DE, change the wording on that one. I had to Google that like 20 times to figure out that you're supposed to scare them from the ground and then kill 3 while they're airborne. So I have to find 3 birds on the ground and scare them and then kill them within 5 seconds for it to even count.
Without going down.
Yeah, without going down or dying.
Yep.
So it is just so frustrating. So yeah. Well, we're going to take a break really quick. And when we come back, we're going to go a little bit in depth and talk about Vlad, codename Vlad, the new frame that's coming in. So hang tight with us and we will be right back. And we're back.
Hi.
Thanks for hanging with us, guys. Welcome back. So Vlad, the new Warframe that's coming out, they did say that, and I don't know how to think about this. I think I'm excited a little bit, but I'm also kind of sad. They said that they would want to get him out as soon as possible. They don't want to like sit on him while they're waiting for like release stuff to get ready. So I think that's alluding to the fact that he might not be coming with a quest. He might just kind of drop like Korra did, and you just might be able to farm him somewhere. So I'm kind of sad he doesn't have a quest because he seems like a really cool idea of like where he's gonna fit in between the two of them. So yeah, I'm super excited, but Jeremy is probably through the roof excited about this guy.
Beard frame. Oh my god, beard frame. Beard frame, beard frame, beard frame, beard frame, beard frame. Say that a lot, it starts to sound weird.
It does sound weird, and sadly I'm team hair, so
beard frame.
Nope, hair frame. That hair is so cool.
So I loved just they showed the base art, like the first full sketch of him, and you could tell, like, I think the original idea they sort of alluded to was he was like a sentient frame built out of parts of Eidolons, or like some sort of Eidolon revenant type thing.
Yeah.
And over the course of the development process, at some point, I don't know when, I guess Rebecca Ford stepped up and started helping design him, and he took on a very like vampire-esque concept, and he does stuff like he turns into mist, and all I could think about the whole time, and I told you we'd come back to this, was Kain from the Legacy of Kain series and from Soul Reaver, and my jaw hit the floor. Everything they were showing, it was ticking all the boxes. My goth kid from my youth and my inner edgelord, they were just screaming. Oh my god, I'm so hyped for this frame.
Yeah, it seems really cool. So his kit is where he can mark people, kind of like a Nyx of sorts, and if they get enough of that affliction on them, they'll actually start being mind controlled. So this kind of going back to the Bram Stoker, I can make you let me drink your blood kind of thing.
I think they used the word thralls, which is pretty vampire appropriate.
Yes, very vampire. And affliction is vampire appropriate. Rebecca, I do agree. That is a vampire word, and anybody that doesn't think affliction goes with vampires can suck it, because I agree with you. It's a very vampire-ish thing. And then he can put them to sleep, so he's got an AoE sleep. When they're like the things that are marked that have affliction, if they get enough on them, they explode when they die. You can like have a buff up that stuns people if they attack you, and then you can cast the mark on them.
It gives them the first level of the affliction when they hit him.
Oh, I didn't know if they did it. I thought I thought she had to mark them first. You get like a free mark if you want.
Yeah, so basically if he's got that buff up when they hit him, obviously this is all subject to change. He's still in development, but if he's got that buff up when they hit him, they're instantly like the first level of the affliction process. Just like if he'd marked them one time. And then you could mark them the second time or use his little phase shift ability over them, and that'll like complete the cycle. So that they'll do the full explode.
Oh, he's kind of interesting. So it seems like he's CC heavy. Is what I'm looking at.
I don't remember what his passive was. Did they talk about that?
I think they did, but they said it was still a work in progress. But I don't quite remember what it was.
Yeah, I don't recall. I'll have to look that up after the show.
Sorry, we don't have all of the information. And a lot of it looks like it is subject to change. It looks like they do have a lot of the animations down. They have an alt helmet ready for him.
He has this really cool animation when he's casting all of his skills. My first thought was, I don't know why but I was getting a very strong like Russian vibe from him. Maybe it's the tall head with the beard for his default or something, but I just had this sort of like the way he like crouched down. But then I saw a much more fitting description was he looks like a rock bender from Avatar. The way he like crouches down and does these real high kicks when he's casting his skills. It's very, very in line with the benders from the Avatar series.
I guess I could kind of see that a little bit. I'd have to watch the video again of her playing it just to see.
Yeah, you should check it out because he's got really unique casting animations. It makes him stand out a little bit just as far as, he's not just like waving his arms in a circle or something. He actually has like a unique way of like manipulating his body when he's casting these skills. It was cool to see.
Yeah, I think for me though, I'm actually more excited about the katana because that katana was sexy, and the katana animations when he had it out was really cool. Like when he was just standing there with it and he was doing like his little like around him thing, like that was really neat. I did find it really interesting that somebody asked if the katana was ready, like if that was its like almost finished build, but then Rebecca didn't use it. So I'm wondering if maybe it's not completely there, so they didn't really want to showcase it. Yeah, which I guess I can kind of understand.
So yeah, I kind of had two guesses as to why, because she was using the throwing weapons a lot.
Yes.
And I wondered, like, part of me wondered, like, was it ready, or maybe it wasn't modded, so it was going to look super weak on the stream, so she decided, opted not to use it. Because I do think she swung it a few times when she was in the simulacrum.
Yeah, and she did say she spawned in level 200 enemies, and she was completely unmodded. Right. So I think she was using more skills and what was fast enough to kill them.
Yeah, so I was kind of giving a little bit of the benefit of the doubt. But then, of course, like the person, the part of me that just wants to panic and throw my arms up in the air was like, oh, it's terrible. Even Rebecca Ford hates it, and she likes all sorts of, you don't see her running with like the meta weapons. She's always running with like some weird weapon that you don't see used a whole lot. Yeah. And even she wouldn't use the great sword. So there was the part of me that was just ready to, to call like, oh, game's dead. It's over. It's over. The new two-handed katana everybody wants is horrible.
Yeah, the panic set in.
Yeah, but I'm sure that's not the case. But, of course, part of my brain went there.
Yeah, but it is really pretty.
It is really pretty.
I think I kind of want to get it just because I'm having a crisis when it comes to melee weapons. I know I said before that it was the Dark Split sword last week, that was my one sword that I was taking through. But as I've like leveled up my frames and I've started forma my primary and secondary weapons, it just doesn't hold up anymore.
It's funny how that's
super
worked.
weak. I know.
Like, as we've been doing this, as we've gone through the process, Korra and Nidus and Inoros and Mesa are the 4 that I've put the most forma into. And it's funny, like, as I've, worked on, like, the Sybaris and the Tigris, suddenly, like, the Tiburon and the Phage and some of these other weapons that I'd been holding on to, like, they're starting to show their cracks. Like, I'm starting to see why people don't talk about some of these weapons, like, in the later stages. Like, and it's kind of a bummer. Although Silva and Aegis is still going strong.
Yeah. God, I love Silva. I still need to finish getting Silva and Aegis Prime. But yeah, I ended up getting this week the Nami Skyla Prime. Jeremy bought it for me, which was fantastic. Thank you so much, good sir.
Of course.
I appreciate it.
I owed you Plat.
That is fair. He did owe me Plat. But yeah, I got the Nami Skyla, and I've been slowly but surely formatting it. I didn't get it done before we did Index, because that's what I was going to take. I ended up taking the Jatka tag, which I've formatted, and I liked that a lot. But yeah, I got the Nami Skyla. I have the Nakana Prime, which will be done later today. And I've just been trying to really try to find a melee weapon I like. I know once I hit 13, I'm getting the Galatine Prime. I have someone that's holding it for me right now. So I will be getting that, but I just need to find a good two-handed weapon that I like, and I think the katana could be it, because it looks like it, in my head, katanas are faster. So it'll be faster than a big bastard sword. So
yeah,
I'm hopeful.
For me, it's sidearms. I have several melee weapons that I like. The Orthos Prime, say what you want about it. I know there's some lovers out there. It is a solid weapon. I like the Venka. I know I just got those finished, but I've put a fair amount of work into them, and I really like the move sets. It just feels good to use it. And then primaries, I've got the Sybaris and the Tigris and the Dread and the Cernos. I've got plenty of weapons, but it's sidearms. Like, the Sikaris is good, but it's good because I've put 3 forma in it and I've got good mods on it. The Akbolto is good, but it's good because I've put some work into it. But this week I've got the Afona Prime, and it is, I think, going to be the better of the 3. Because it's a shotgun, and I have a penchant for loving shotguns, but still, I don't know. Like, as I've been using it, like, I noticed, like, I went back to the Cernos when I was leveling the Afona, and I was like, is that a good sign? Or I don't know. Like, I'm still waiting on a sidearm to be excited about.
Yeah, so maybe he'll launch with a sidearm too. I don't know. The only thing we really saw was the katana, and then she was just using throwing weapons. I didn't see what they were, but I just recognized the motion, so I'm sure that's something in the game that's already there. But I know Korra launched with a couple different weapons, so I'm wondering maybe they're working on something cool.
Could be.
For him. Something new to kind of mix it up, nice and stealthy. Maybe another look at throwing weapons. That would be really cool.
Because Gara came with all 3.
Yeah, and I
Gara
know...
Did she? Yeah, she had the throwing knives. So yeah, Gara had all 3 parts.
Yep, and I know Korra came with the Hystrix, which is a secondary, and she came with the dual Karases, which is a melee weapon. So it'd be really cool. Now, I know they probably don't want to repeat the secondary melee weapon, but who knows? Maybe he'll come with all 3, or maybe with Limbo coming out, or the next Prime, hopefully maybe they'll bump up one of the secondary weapons with him and make a nice secondary out of it.
That'd be cool.
That would be really neat. So I guess my biggest issue with Vlad right now is he really needed? I know I said before that he kind of has some of like the Nyx like mind control-y stuff going on, and it seems like he's got some crazy like movement shenanigans, and he does the AoE sleep like Equinox does. So I'm really curious, besides all like the flashy cool new stuff and like the really cool idea of the frame, like is this a frame that's different enough that we would actually need it in the game? Especially with just like how the abilities work. I don't know. That's what I've kind of been mulling around, and maybe that's why I'm not so excited about him, is because I'm not that hyped about another CC frame, honestly.
I think it's a fair question. And part of me, maybe the devil's advocate part of me says no. Maybe he's not so needed. in the the grand scheme of things, there's already 35 other Warframe. 36?
He's number 36.
That's what I thought. Okay, so he's 36.
He's,
so there's 35 other frames, and part of me wonders, like, how far can they go? Like, is there going to be hundreds of frames one day? And at that point, how many times are we essentially going to have Korra? Or how many different Excaliburs?
The Warframe bloat is what I'm really scared of, and
I think there is something to say about bloat and needing to keep bloat down. And I looked back, kind of pertaining to our discussion topic for today, but I was looking at the release order of the frames, and you kind of see the order that they came out in, and they do seem to try. They're not there every year, and that's fine, but they do seem to try to release 3 frames a year.
Which is a lot of frames.
That's a lot of frames, 'cause that doesn't even include 2 or 3 primes a year. So, I mean, the team is really busy and they're really excited. But, it does beg the question, like, what happens when they run out of ideas? Like, and I think my personal take on this, and I haven't played a ton of MOBAs, but I did play, I think it's Smite. And Smite, that's the one with the gods, right?
Yep, Smite is with the gods. You played that in Paragon.
Okay.
Were the 2 MOBAs that we played.
So the interesting thing there is Smite has, like, they tout like 120 heroes, or it's an outrageous number of heroes that you get. And I bought the little pack that lets you start with all of them, so you don't have to wait for them to come around and all that garbage.
Yeah, be available for that month or whatever.
Yeah,
however they have it.
And I am certainly, I can hear people sending emails already. I am not saying that Warframe is a MOBA or anything to that nature, but I will say, and this actually extends to my experience in miniature games too, there is something to be said for, and I made this joke several times, for Fashion Frame as endgame. There is something to be said for having 2 frames that do exactly the same thing, but have exceedingly different look and feel to them, like a different aesthetic. And that's okay in my book. You could give me a second Limbo that instead of banishing people to the rift, he's oh man, Limbo was a terrible example.
Yeah, think of another one. Limbo is a bad example
I'll
here.
think of a different one. Yeah, we'll just pretend I didn't say that.
Here's one, but like for Frost, like you have one that does a frost bubble, and then you have another one that slows enemies down, but then you have another one that's like a fire frame. This literally does the exact same skills. It shoots fire, it encases people in fire, and it can spread to other people. It shoots a ground full of fire or lava at a target and pops a lava bubble or a fire bubble or a molten lava bubble thing that kind of doesn't slow enemies, but it does damage them. And
or like
something
Korra.
like that. Yeah,
like let's make a second Korra. Now instead of a cat, she has a demon, and instead of chains, she has these like hell tentacle things, and everything is this weird green pus color, and she's like a succubus from hell, and her skills aren't identical to Korra's. She's not a 1-for-1 remake, because that's just a new TennoGen skin or something. By the way, TennoGen, you guys need to start making me some Korra skins, because I'll buy all of them.
It's true, he will.
Okay, side note is over. But you could make Korra into a very Korra-esque frame that fills that pet class CC, lots of crowd control stuff going on. You could fill that with a frame that's summoning void demons or something, and there are people who will say, we don't need this, we all already have Korra. And then there are people who will say, oh, Legion was my favorite WoW expansion, and now DE's releasing a frame centered around demons and being a demon control. Or a warlock or something. And so some people are going to be really excited, and maybe they don't like Korra because Korra just has a cat and whips and whip daddy and all that good stuff. So I think, wow, Warframe bloat is something that could scare me. I also think there is a place for essentially duplicate frames.
Yeah, and I guess without having PvP content, it does have the Conclave and like Lanera and stuff like that, but since that's not a huge focus of the game, I think that could be available. Because you don't really have to worry about that type of stuff. You could have those duplicate but different style of frames just to fit your play style, because it is about what feels good. And of course there's always going to be the number crunchers who are like, we already have this and they do it better, so this is a garbage frame. But I mean, I've learned a lesson twice now that what some people say is a garbage frame, like when I'm going through different videos of reviews or like talking to people, I had this with Wukong. Someone said Wukong, everybody that I've talked to before has said Wukong's an awful frame, worthless, don't get him. And then I happened to talk to somebody else in our stream chat, and they said don't listen to him. Wukong's great. The only reason why people don't like him is because if you build him, he never dies and he's boring. And that's why everybody says he sucks. It's because he's boring. And that's not a good enough reason for me to say something sucks.
Absolutely. I've learned this lesson 3 times. I was told Atlas is trash.
Yep.
Atlas is a lot of fun.
Atlas is amazing.
Mag is complete garbage. Mag is a ton of fun. And I was told Korra was the biggest disappointment to the game yet, and she might be my favorite frame now.
Yeah, and we went to a mission on Pluto to grind some Axie relics and to grind some Endo. And we went to the excavation mission on Pluto, and we ended up going to like 31 excavators or something like that.
Yeah.
And it was like, I was on Atlas, you were on Nidus, and we had a Nova and a Valbon.
Yeah, Valbon.
Yeah, and Valbon was probably one of the biggest reasons that we were able to do that, because of his walls and stuff. And I think that's like one of the only times I've played with a Valbon, and it was awesome. So I don't know, I guess it is a weird question on is he needed or not, and I think it really depends on your personal mindset. I think it's a to be determined for me. I think I am constantly worried when I see new Warframes, new Prime stuff, like where is it going to end? You know, this Warframe bloat is cool, but I'm just really scared that it's just going to start isolating frames and take what is a good community and turn it into you're playing that version of that frame, or you're playing that frame. That frame was so like 2010, and I know the game wasn't out in 2010. Please don't write angry emails about that. But as an example, 5 years down the road, that frame was so 4 years ago. You should be getting the new better version. And yeah, it doesn't do frost, it does fire damage, but it's better, and it's the exact same thing except for it's fire. But maybe I just feel like being one chili bro or something.
Chili boy.
Yeah, so that's what I'm worried about.
Yeah, definitely. I understand all that, but for me, in where I'm at in my life, in my gaming career, I need a vampire frame with a beard.
Well, you're gonna get it with Vlad.
Hell yeah, I am. I'm gonna get it day one. I don't care how much plat I have to buy to get him either.
Yeah, how much you have to trade.
I mean, we'll see. We'll see how you get him. I may not just buy him, but I probably will, because he'll probably come with the deluxe helmet and the sword skin. I probably will just buy him, though.
Yeah, you'll get his bundle when it comes out that has the weapons and stuff attached with it.
So if anybody needs to buy a Riven for the Zenith, hit me up in game. It's terrible, but I'm not going to be able to use it for like 600 days. So
yeah. Well, speaking of things that we're going to buy day one, we did get a little bit more of a soon TM type of thing with the Nidus Deluxe skin. It is ahead of Neza. We will get it before Neza. They're doing a lot of work on it, but it'll be out soon, TM.
And I had a little theory. I don't want to spend too much time on this. I know I've ranted enough this episode. But I had a theory on that, and I think it's because isn't the Nidus Deluxe skin being designed by one of the TennoGen artists?
Yeah, I think it was originally submitted by a TennoGen artist, which means it has to have a lot of work put into it already going in before even the devs got it.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, is that might be why it's so much further ahead than the others is, who I can't think of their name. We had their name a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
But, they must have really gone above and beyond, because they showed the sketches on the stream, and those have been passed around a little bit. But they must have put a whole lot of work into this, because I don't know, for it to already be ahead of Neza, and Neza had to have been announced, Neza and Valbon both, before we started playing the game, because I had not heard that they were coming until we got the update. So
yeah, until they updated us and told us that they showed us the Nidus Deluxe teaser.
Yeah, so that's really cool. I can't wait to get it. I'll be picking this up as well. Yeah,
we have several people in the Discord that are literally going to get that day one too.
Gonna break the bank if they come out the same week.
Oh my god, we're gonna be screwed. We're gonna have to eat ramen every single day or something.
Oh shucks, ramen.
Oh shucks. For us, it actually would be rice.
For rice, yeah.
Yeah, we need a lot of rice at this house. So yeah, and the last thing they touched on, they answered a lot of fan questions this time around. I think it's because they had a lot of information that they couldn't talk about, which is okay.
It definitely felt that way.
Yeah, it felt like they were filling the space a little bit. But there were several different questions about frame reworks in the future, because we know that Korra came out and she's been getting fixed. Saren just got a huge play update. There's been talks that Limbo's in the works, a bunch of stuff like that. So they were asking, like, you know, how are these changes, like Saren changes coming out when Titania still sucks, and, you know, this needs fixed and this needs fixed. So they did say that that is something that they're looking, and they brought up a really good point that the game evolves, so there's always going to be reworks happening. This game is a living, breathing game, so as things come in, they're going to have to switch. As power curves change, they're going to have to adapt. So they are looking at doing frame reworks, and I know Rebecca mentioned Pablo was saying that there were a couple that they were looking at too. So that will happen. Just kind of hang in. I know that's probably not on their focus right now with the sacrifice and what other secret projects they're working on and all the stuff they're going to announce at TennoCon. So, but strap in. I have faith that they're going to get there. It's just this is an evolving game and it's changing a lot. So they're just kind of doing it as it goes.
I think for some of the reworks, it does seem to line up to when the Prime comes out.
Mm-hmm.
So I do think, to at least a certain extent, they may be hoping that Titania, or, you know, there's a few others. I think Wukong is one that gets brought up a lot.
Yes, Titania and Wukong.
I think they're kind of hoping maybe that these frames can just sort of chug along in mediocrity until it's time for their Prime, and then they can put the rework in with the Prime.
Yeah.
But then you've got other ones like Valbon, who you hear all the time needs a rework, and he has a Prime. So, you know, I think they'll prioritize those first. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't want to speculate too much on that because I don't know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Well, along with the reworks, I came across an interesting, and they mentioned this on the dev stream, which is why I kind of wanted to discuss it a little bit. Is the change of Warframe as how the game has been focused from the past to now. So before, which was prior to when Jeremy and I were playing, it was really a CC heavy focus game where your crowd control was king. You know, you needed stuff crowd controlled because that was how you were able to hold it in place so you could get some damage off and stuff like that. So, you know, that's why it was just a CC heavy focus. And now it's kind of moved towards a damage focus where a lot of the builds we see coming out are for max damage and being the most effective and the strongest weapons and all this other stuff. So I thought it was really interesting that we have such a damage focused game right now with how you're modding and what you're playing, but almost like the last 4 or 5 frames that have come out have been heavily CC focused versus damage skill focused. So I'm really wondering if you think that there might be a possible game style meta shift coming as they're reworking stuff and they're trying to, you know, like with the Saren rework of wanting to keep your spores up constantly, which isn't wanting to kill them, it's wanting to hold them in place so you can pop them and spread them. Mm-hmm. And all of these reworks and all of these new frames coming out that are really like CC crowd control, like, do you think that they're trying to shift the game back off of damage a little bit now?
It does. I definitely see where this comes from because Sanctuary Onslaught and Elite Sanctuary Onslaught, you're on a timer. So there is no need for CC. You need to be murdering everything around you. And CC is only going to slow you down. You know?
Exactly, yeah.
So I get that. I totally understand why the balance has kind of shifted towards a more, shoot first,
stop them later.
Right, yeah, like, don't worry about, how tied up they are. Just kill them before they kill you. So it does kind of, raise that question because in the most DPS-focused game mode that I've seen, and maybe there's something else. I know we missed raids entirely. I don't actually know how the raids were structured.
Yeah.
But in the most DPS thing I can find currently, they released a new CC frame, and that's like 90% of her kit is just various ways to tie people up.
Now, Venari does do a lot of damage, as we've noted.
Yes,
so she does do damage,
yeah,
and Strangledom does it.
Yep.
The whip does damage, but her biggest skills are ensnare, which I've run with groups with Jeremy on Korra, and they say a snare is trash. Don't use it. It doesn't do damage. It just ties them up.
Yeah, my counterpoint to that is put a spore on one of them and I'll ensnare them together, and that spore will spread to the whole group. It is a thing of beauty. I've seen that combo happen several times.
But before we get distracted too far down the rabbit hole.
Yeah. But yeah, I do think that would be that could be something that's coming, because if you look at it, we looked up the previous several frames, like in the order they've come out, and you know, I almost said Saren. Gara, of course, is the frame that came out before Korra, and she's a tank, but she's got a lot of CC. She's got, you know, her dome, of course, good for closing off. It's not a dome, but her cylinder,
her wall,
her cylinder, yeah, is good for closing off. And then she's got her passive is there's a chance that if she walks into sunlight, stuff around her goes blind. And that actually, I personally find that happening a lot more than I expected for passive.
Oh, yeah, that happens a lot.
Yeah, I feel like, you know, obviously there's some maps where it almost never happens. You know, some of the like, well, the Derelict is one. I've not played her a lot in the Derelict, but there's not a lot of light in the Derelict. And
yeah, it's kind of dark.
But then you get some of them, like the Grenier ships, have all those spotlights everywhere. I set everything around me is blind when I'm playing on a Grenier ship, or on Earth. There's a lot. Mars, there's a lot. So, you know, and then she's got that carousel. I know a lot of people say it's not worth using. It's not very good. It's okay. I think it's okay. You know, it's that ring of mirrors, and the enemies around it will just keep shooting, and I think they take damage from it, or maybe when the mirror breaks, they take damage from it. Something to that effect.
Yeah.
And then before that, I don't remember if he's right before Gara, but of course you have Harrow. He's one of the most recent, like 5 frames, and he is like king of CC, and he does a lot of DPS, but you know, he's got a lot of CC in his kit, a lot of that stuff going on. So I think I don't know what's coming, but it does sort of feel a little bit like DE wants it to move in a more CC direction, but then also they just released Sanctuary Onslaught, so I'm not really sure where they're wanting to go. So I would love to see some game modes coming back, like with a more control mindset to it, so that some of these frames, like Korra, like we found with the Index, CC really can start to shine in situations like that.
It really did help.
So are they trying to shift the meta? I don't know, but I would love to see it. Yeah,
I would. I think coming just from games where, like Final Fantasy XIV, where it was all about the numbers and how much damage you're doing and how much of this and how much of that, like, I'm kind of tired of playing the numbers game a little bit, you know? I don't know. And this is all just personal preference. But I definitely think that there's a lot to say about the game evolving. And I know that they've been putting out a lot of, like, the new weapons that are really nice and damaging and all this other stuff. And I don't know, I like the idea of possibly switching it a little bit, you know, mixing it up. Like, don't take out the damage focus, but maybe, like, bring it back a little bit. Like, with, like, Trinity, for example. Like, Trinity's doesn't do damage. She really is just in there for her energy viper, or energy siphon, energy vampire builds and stuff like that. So, I mean, if maybe it's one of those things where you've got your Trinity for her EV build, and then you've got, like, a Frost for CC. And he doesn't do much damage. He's just there to slow stuff down. I mean, you already get Novas going in that are slow Nova or speed Nova. And that's still a really CCE thing. Even if it's not physically stopping them, it is controlling how they're moving. So why not?
So before you move too far,
okay,
a Link Trinity would like to have words with you on damage output.
Okay.
She basically, the gimmick is, and I am not brave enough to try this, but you link yourself to a bunch of other enemies with her link skill, and then you fire an explosive weapon at your feet, so take a ton of damage, but it redirects that damage.
Oh, that's terrifying.
So I am not brave enough to shoot the lens at my own feet, or I have the Tsar, which is what I'd probably end up using, but apparently she is more than capable, because if the thing she's linked to dies, the link moves. So I've heard a lot of horror stories of Trinity in Elite Sanctuary Onslaught.
That's absolutely terrifying.
Isn't it, though?
That's terrifying. But anyway, you know what I mean, though. Like, I kind of like the idea of instead of going the route of just giant bullet sponge bosses and giant bullet sponge this, give us some more like little fun mechanic-y stuff, like the boss in the derelict. You need to have the damage output, but you also need to have the smarts to shoot the right spot. And, you know, you got to be moving and dodging and stuff like that. Like, I don't want this to become more like Destiny.
Yeah, I would love to see bosses with, or not even bosses, maybe just enemies where like, and this comes from, I was looking to do Inaros's questline, and one of the things is you have to kill 5 or 10 juggernauts.
Yeah, you got the Juggernaut.
Yeah, I got the Juggernauts was the one that came for me. And they've got like crazy armor on their back. So really the best time to hit them is right before they shoot their spikes at you, which like will one-shot a lot of frames. And they kind of rear up on their back leg a little bit as they do their casting animation. And I saw all these tips of take Harrow or Frost, and as it rears up, freeze them in place, and that like exposes their belly, and you can get several shots in instead of just one.
Mm-hmm.
And that got me thinking, like, what about frames? And then there's actually a boss where you've got to like break the little tubes on his back.
Yep.
Before you can damage him, and then you kind of trick him into damaging himself until the next phase. And that got me kind of thinking, like, what about like just random enemies that need some kind of CC before they can take damage?
Yeah.
Like, you need to knock them down, or you need, you know, because like armor strip is kind of what I'm talking about. Like, that's already in the game. You know, there's a lot of stuff that has a ton of armor, but you put a little armor stripping on it, and then suddenly it goes down a lot easier, a lot smoother.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's kind of, but I'm looking for a little bit more. Like, let's give the CC frame something to really do. Like, maybe, you know, maybe this particular enemy type is extra vulnerable. He's like extra strong against gunfire, but he's vulnerable against like backstabs. So you need something like Inaros or Equinox or this new guy to come in and sleep them so that you can go in and get that auto kill for the backstab, and it just be a regular enemy type.
Yeah. And I can understand the hesitation with that, though, from a game design standpoint of you don't want to make it to where certain maps require certain frames.
Right.
So you don't want to push it too far into a meta. But I don't know. I think it would be really cool if there's a way to figure it out. I'm not saying I'm a game designer. I'm not saying I know how to do it. But if there was a way, I think it would be really cool to kind of see the CC come back. It doesn't have to reign supreme. But the way I see it is everybody can do damage with their weapons. So why not really make those individual things shine instead of just, I take this frame because he has a lot of base health and has ways to keep himself alive, and I take this frame because she can go invisible.
I do think that might be why we're seeing a lot more CC heavy frames, is because like with like Ember, you know, do you really need to be using her weapons as much? Or, you know, you really don't. Because, and maybe she's not a great one, because I know she's still kind of recovering from a nerf from right before we started playing to her World on Fire. But, you know, her skills all do damage. And that kind of, for some people, myself included, makes her a little less interesting. And I had this problem for the longest time, and this is why I'm back to Nidus, actually, is I thought Nidus was pure and simple a caster. And you might as well walk into a map as Nidus without any weapons equipped, because you were never going to fire a single shot, because you needed to build stacks. Well, I found a build using his new Syndicate mod that actually makes it so that you don't need to be getting stacks for the faster missions. And kind of where I'm going with this is we have to, I think sort of the antithesis to this idea is, one of the things that Warframe is praised for is missions are very quick.
Yes.
A lot of the missions are very speedy. Like, and I know I kind of griped about this last week, but that was only because of the way the discussion question was framed. I don't dislike rescue missions, and most of the time I do like it when, you know, I'm barely loading in, but they've already captured the target, or they're already rescuing the hostages. That's fine.
Oh yeah, it's
generally
super nice.
speaking, that's fine with me. I just picked those as like the ones I don't like doing in public groups, because I feel like I'm not participating in those. But I do think there's something to be said for the mission's going nice and quick. And I think if you have too much of an emphasis on CC, that's going to slow a lot of it down.
Yeah, and that could turn away the player base too. That do either they like running stuff nice and quick because it's nice and easy, and they can do it a lot, or they don't have a lot of time to play.
Right. Yeah. Like I did a Forma alert last night that it was a capture, and I was in the mission for 90 seconds.
Dang.
It was beautiful. And it was one of those, as soon as I finished loading in, because I think I filled a slot, maybe someone DC'd. As soon as I loaded in, Lotus told me that they'd captured the target. And I was like, oh, cool.
That's perfect.
Yeah, it was like, okay, that's fine. I was in there for 90 seconds. It was literally like I spawned in like halfway through the map, and I just simply had to make it to extraction. 90 seconds later, I was done. And, the same thing, I did a Nightane alert last night right after, because like the Forma had like 30 seconds left when I clicked on it, and then by the time I got out of that, the Nightane alert had like 2 minutes left. So I just went ahead and did that one too, and that was very much the same. It was a rescue mission, I believe, and we were all in there for a couple minutes, just nice and quick. We just got in, we saved the target, and we got out. And like I said, if there was too much of an emphasis on CC, if there were enemies, like I suggested, that need CC to be killed, if there were too many of those, then suddenly that 90-second mission takes 5 minutes, and you're going to turn off a lot of the player base who was, were thinking like, I used to be able to, do this nice and quick, and now it's taking literally 5 times longer. And that's gonna, like you said, there's people like, I used to play on my lunch break, like I could grab that Nightane alert for both of us if I was home on lunch. Now I may not be able to do that, because it takes 15 minutes to finish a mission that should have taken 3.
Yeah, exactly. Now, I did see something interesting. Someone did ask during the dev stream if we were ever going to leave this galaxy or go to another part of the galaxy with different planets. And I think that would be a really cool way to introduce a separate galaxy.
Yep.
Or a new planet, or a new enemy type even. Like introduce like a new enemy type that like is like that sometimes shows up. Like, I mean, they've introduced the ghouls. Why not introduce something else new? And that could be a way to introduce that CC back in, so it doesn't always happen. Or if you want to go do that, you can. But I don't know, I just thought it was a very interesting topic of looking at how the game was in the past with, CC being like the king that everybody wanted to make sure that you had the CC to handle stuff, to now you just want to make sure that you can kill it fast enough before it has a chance to do anything.
Right.
So I thought it was really interesting. So I'd love to hear what you guys think. As far as this, if you like where that is at right now, if you think that it could shift, if you think they could find a blend of both, which would you prefer? Anything like that, I would love to hear what you guys think on it. But yeah, I think that is actually going to do it for us today. I do have one more announcement. We are starting a capture contest for June.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is a capture contest, and the theme is fun in the sun. So all you guys need to do is email in your captura with your account name to TennoTalk@gmail.com and email us in your captura for whatever the theme is. It can be any frame, anything. It's just a capture for fun in the sun. And you guys will have until June 29th. So that is a couple Fridays away from us to get those submitted. And we will be announcing the winner on July 1st. So our first episode that comes out will announce the winner. And what that will entail is that will be featured on our offline screen on Twitch. So if anybody comes to the channel on Twitch, they will see your image up there. And it will also be featured on our upcoming website front page as well. We have a website in the works, which will be available in the next week or so. So I'll let you guys know when that's up. And we will be giving you a $25 Steam gift card for TennoGen stuff. So you can buy extra TennoGen things and kind of have that around to, up your fashion frame for the next one. So I'm super excited to see everybody's responses and see your entries, because I love fashion frame and I love Captura. So
I can't wait.
It'll give me all these ideas of things I can do. So yeah, like I said, I'll just say one more time, a Capture contest. The theme is fun in the sun, since it is the summer here in the Midwest. And all you have to do is submit your Capture with your in-game name and send that to TennoTalk@gmail.com to our email. You have until June 29th, and we'll be announcing the winner on the July 1st episode. So you have all of June to get those in. So yeah, send those in. And again, the winner, they get their photo featured on our Twitch and on our website, and then it'll also get a $25 Steam gift card to go with it.
And is it one submission per person?
Yes, one submission per person. So make sure you submit in your best one. You are able to do edits and stuff like that. I know a lot of people use reshaders in the game, like while they're playing, or they use the NVIDIA reshade options as well. Those are perfectly fine. It doesn't need to be a blank, unedited one. Because I really like seeing the reshaders. I've thought about downloading one and trying it for Captura, because I just think they're really pretty to see some of those photos that come out.
Yeah, go all in.
Yeah, all in, and I look forward to it. Is there anything else?
Ghost Beard might automatically get you a point, but it will not automatically get my vote.
If he's out by then. I don't think he'll be out this month.
Yeah, if you want to risk waiting for him.
Yeah, I don't think he'll be out. Maybe for the next one. So yeah, like I said, that's going to do it for us here. Thank you so much. I am so humbled by all of the emails and tweets and comments and reviews on iTunes and Stitcher and places like that. So thank you guys so much. Seeing those really does make us want to do this more. And it makes us super excited to do this every week. And it is the highlight of my week. And to do this, I love it so much. So yeah, so thank you guys for all the support. And this has been episode 5. And I guess until next time, stay safe, Tennos. TennoTalk is a weekly Warframe podcast produced and edited by Rebecca and Jeremy Goodrich. Warframe is created by Digital Extremes. Music for the podcast is provided by Purple Planet Music, and the Ortis sound clip provided by Digital Extremes Fansite Kit. You can email the show at tennotalk@gmail.com and reach us on Twitter at tenno_talk. You can also join us live on Twitch at TennoTalk on Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. to 12 a.m. Eastern. You can download the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Google Play, and along with most major podcasting apps. If you like the show, be sure to rate us and leave us a review. It will really help other Tenno find out about it. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next week with episode 6.